The Java Classic or the Java Standard has been around for around 7 years time in India, and the company have taken its own time to come out with the Generation 2 model. And just by the looks of it, all the metal panels, the silhouette of this motorcycle resembles what we had already seen before since 2018. But once you come closer to the motorcycle, well, you will make out all those small fine details and additions that the company have made to this Generation 2 model.
Now there's quite an extensive list of features that Java have carried out with this motorcycle over the older bike. But I'll cut it down to what's actually important for you. The stuff you'll notice about it when you first see it and actually get down to riding this motorcycle. Aesthetically, the fit and finish levels have improved tremendously. The paint quality is much better than before. There's different textured parts, like on the side panels, and lots of additional chrome bits on there now, like the fender badge and stays, the heel guards, and then there's even some aluminum foot pegs on there now as well. There's new colors to the Java 350's instrumentation readout, along with decals all across the bike, including the new tank and engine badges too. The Java 350 is slightly taller than before, with increased ground clearance and seat height as well, while being slightly tighter on overall width. Now as far as functional bits go, well, the bike gets new front and rear suspension units with increased length for better ride comfort. However, one should notice that the rear shocks, although preload adjustable, aren't gas charged anymore. The previous generation Java Standard came across as being a bit rough around the edges in terms of NVH levels. And to our delight, well, there have been a host of alterations across this new bike that have made it a lot more refined and composed than what it was before. Also, the muffler layout has changed, and along with that, so has the note from the twin exhaust pipes. And it now sounds a lot more wholesome and better still, louder. The biggest change to this bike, however, comes in the form of the 334cc liquid-cooled engine that replaces the older 294cc unit. Yes, it has been borrowed from the Generation 2 Perak. And while the displacement, bore and stroke of this motor remains the same as the older Java model, the cylinder head on this bike is new, with updated port flow and heat flow management, and as a result, the rate of compression has reduced. The double cradle frame has been modified to accommodate the new engine, while the swing arm at the rear has increased in length to aid stability.
Now you think having a bigger displacement engine in there, well, this motorcycle would have more power on tap to offer, but sadly that isn't the case with the Java 350, because power has in fact decreased down to around 22.5 PS of max power from almost 27 PS that was on tap with the older 300cc model. Now the main reason that Java has done this, well, they claim, is because they want to maintain that laid back, calm, sensible ride experience that this motorcycle is supposed to give you. And if you wanted something more proactive in the performance sense, well, you always have options like the 42 and the Perak.
Now, while the new model is down on power, torque on the other hand has gone up by 1 Nm. Now prior to the ride, Java Personal explained to us that they have improved torque on the second, third and fourth gear ratios and configured the engine to deliver all that power and torque overall in a way that gives this bike a better initial shout. And on setting off the next day, well, it was all there to be felt. Low to mid-range of the power band is definitely where it's at with this motorcycle. The throttle calibration feels a lot better now, and the bike pulled away a lot cleaner from low down the power band, which will appear to address issues expressed by Gen 1 standard owners who claimed that the bike was a bit bothersome to ride in the city as it kept stalling. Also, the slip and assist clutch, a very welcomed feature on this motorcycle. The Java 350 is a lot more user-friendly now, with vibrations and audibility of its overall functioning beginning to get intrusive past the indicated 90 kmph mark. Give it enough time, space and effort and you will see the needle on the speedometer fly past 130 kmph. At around 70 to 80 kmph, however, this bike sits in the sweet spot. However, the speedo readout itself is a bit of a pain because of the way things are laid out. From 40 to 100 km per hour, well, I couldn't see what speeds I was doing unless I leaned forward to have a look. Also, visibility of the overall indicator lights, well, in that unit during the day is near impossible. Now things are slightly better than before in the ride and handling department out here as well. Now the front suspension, well, it provides neutral feedback. but it's quite absorbent over rough surfaces, so that makes things acceptable. The rear springs, on the other hand, well, in their stock setting, well, they're a bit too firm for my liking because it can get a bit unsettling when you're carrying even a little bit of pace out on the highway. Now, the roads out in Gujarat are mostly flat, but when I did come across some heavily undulated patches, it did take a toll on my spine, and you'll definitely want to slow down a lot to take on bumps in the city. Else, get ready to visit your chiropractor. That's simple. Now, the Jawa 350 comes with slightly broader tires, which give you better contact patches with the road, which is always a good thing. The disc brakes are up on size, and there's dual channel ABS thrown in there for good measure as well, which works really great considering the way this Jawa 350 performs. But the rather small seat, on the other hand, means that if you have a pillion aboard, you'll definitely want to avoid sudden braking or acceleration for that matter. Now, the Jawa 350 feels like a decent classic style motorcycle to get you about your business within the city. But if it's proper long distance touring you're looking at, well, you might want to consider some other options out there because, well, first and foremost, this motorcycle, there isn't a lot of space you have to work with regard to any luggage you plan on carrying along on your trip. The roads leading out of Burj towards the White Run are mostly long straights with a couple of sweeping bends in between. And these are the kind of roads that you'll really appreciate on a motorcycle of this sort. Retro cruisers give off that calm, peaceful vibe, and there's a method to riding motorcycles like this one. And if you're into that kind of riding, well, there are certain aspects and things about this motorcycle that you'll definitely appreciate.
Now, for 2,15,000 rupees, the Jawa 350 is definitely priced a lot lower than something like the Royal Enfield Classic 350. But for that cost, well, you will say that yes, the Enfield has more in terms of features and performance. But then again, this motorcycle, it's not meant to be heavy in terms of tech, and on paper, yes, it does seem to be lacking a bit, but once you actually get your hands on it and you head out on the road, you will find that this motorcycle, for a single cc 350cc single cylinder motorcycle, it doesn't really lack in the performance department because the way the gearbox is configured, the way the engine produces all that torque and the power, it comes together quite well for this motorcycle. What it is, however, is still a classic retro theme motorcycle. It looks great. The fit and finish, the build quality has improved tremendously over the first generation model, and that's something that fans of the Jawa brand and the older standard or classic 300, well, that displacement model, well, once you check this one out, you're definitely going to fall in love with it.